Hi guys, my name is Helen Nyamiaga. Welcome to the Potential Podcast. We are on episode 115 today, and the title is "As We Cross Over to the Other Side." As we cross over to the other side, stick around. In the previous episode, we talked about about trials, tests, and temptations. Today I want to talk about storms because as we cross over to the other side, we face storms. You know, we are talking about storms biblically terms. So, a storm, it may not be a natural disaster storm. It can be a president, you know, it can be calamity, it can be affliction, that happens, to stop you from achieving something, to stop you from doing something, to stop you from doing God's assignment. When you go through the Bible examples, you learn that storms, many times when storms happen, they're there to stop or to test people, whether to test of their faith or to stop them from achieving something or to go to the other side, to cross over to the other side, to fulfill God's will or God's assignment that God has sent them. We'll start in the book of Mark chapter 4. We'll read from verse 35. We'll go over from Mark to Mark chapter 5, from verse 1 to verse 20. And the title says, Jesus calms the storm. That day when evening came, he said to his disciples, "Let us go over to the other side." Leaving the crowd behind, they took him along just as he was in the boat. There were also other boats with him. A furious squall came up, and the waves broke over the boat so that it was nearly swamped. Jesus was in the stern, sleeping on a cushion. The disciples woke him and said to him, "Teacher, don't you care if we drown?" He got up, rebuked the wind, and said to the waves, "Quiet, be still." Then the wind died down, and it was completely calm. He said to his disciples, "Why are you so afraid? Do you still have no faith?" They were terrified and asked each other, "Who is this? Even the wind and the waves obey him." And then he continues. The title says, Jesus restores a demon-possessed man. They went across the lake to the region of the Gerasenes. When Jesus got out of the boat, a man with an impure spirit came from the tombs to meet him. This man lived in the tombs, and no one could bind him anymore, not even with a chain. For he had often been chained hand and foot, but he tore the chains apart and broke the irons on his feet. No one was strong enough to subdue him. Night and day among the tombs, in the hill he would cry out, cut himself with stones. When he saw Jesus from a distance, he ran and fell on his knees in front of him. He shouted at the top of his voice, "What do you want of me, Jesus, Son of the Most High God? In God's name, don't torture me." For Jesus had said to him, "Come out of this man, you impure spirit." Then Jesus asked him, "What is your name?" "My name is Legion," he replied, "for we are many." And he begged Jesus again and again not to send them out of the area. A large herd of pigs was feeding on the nearby hillside. The demons begged Jesus, "Send us among the pigs, allow us to go into them." He gave them permission, and the impure spirits came out and went into the pigs. They had about 2,000 in number, rushed down the steep bank into the lake, and were drowned. Those tending the pigs ran off and reported this in the town and countryside, and the people went out to see what had happened. When they came to Jesus, they saw the man who had been possessed by the legion of demons sitting there, dressed in his right mind, and they were afraid. Those who had seen it told the people what had happened to the demon-possessed man, and told about the pigs as well. Then the people began to plead with Jesus to leave their region. As Jesus was getting to the boat, the man who had been demon-possessed begged to go with him. Jesus did not let him, but said, "Go home to your home people and tell them how much the Lord has done for you and how he had mercy on you." So the man went away and began to tell in the Decapolis how much Jesus had done for him, and all the people were amazed. So this is interesting to me. Before the Lord Jesus could cross over, because he told them, "Let us go to the other side," the wind came, the storm came, And the Lord Jesus was sleeping. He was sleeping, resting, And then the disciples were crying out, Teacher, don't you care for your drown? So he got up, rebuked the wind, and said to the waves, Quiet, be still. Then the wind died down, and it was completely calm. And the next thing he did, he said to his disciples, Why are you so afraid? Do you still have no faith? So we see here the wind came to test their faith in one. He came to test their faith, And if the Lord Jesus was not there, I believe these disciples, if they were on their own, if they are going to the other side, to this region, they probably, will say, let's go back. Because many times the storm comes to stop us, First, by make us doubt, afraid, and lose faith and doubt, basically give up, stop pursuing what we are doing. So the Lord Jesus here, come, told the wind to hush, stop, to calm down. Some other Bible version says, peace, be still, it says, and the wind obeyed. So they continue. So they, basically went to the other side anyway, regardless of what the wind came and trying to distract them, because the Lord Jesus, stopped the wind, and its distraction. So they went to the other side. And if you know that they went to the other side, they had an assignment there. The Lord Jesus had an assignment on this region because of this man who was possessed by demon. So if you notice, this storm was sent to stop the Lord Jesus and his disciples to go to the region, because these demons, if you read the story of this man, it's basically we're taking over the whole region. And in fact, he was so much in pain, they couldn't hold him down, He broke the irons, he tore the chains apart and broke the irons on his feet. He was very powerful because of these demons, So nobody could subdue him. Night and day he was living in the tombs, night and day in the hills, and he cried out and cut himself with stones. So he was so much in pain, and nobody could really help him until the Lord Jesus' salvation came to him, to basically chase those demons out, entire region, so that he could be saved, and that man could be saved. So as you read the story, so the Lord Jesus met with this man, and he delivered him and healed him, and then sent the demons. Even the demons can recognize him. They recognize the Lord Jesus. So they plead with the Lord Jesus and send us send us among the pigs. So the Lord Jesus sent them to the pigs, and they end up drowned into the lake. So together with the pigs. So we see here, and then some people, they, because of that, I guess their pigs died, they probably, they are like, their business or something, they're selling pigs or something. So they complained because, their pigs died. So they asked the Lord Jesus to leave. So, they asked the Lord Jesus to leave because, it was a loss to them, their pigs, but they didn't understand what really happened there. Their region was basically, saved. A new sheriff in town just came, to take dominion and territory over that area. They probably didn't know God. So how do I know that? Because the Lord Jesus told them, this man, when he begged the Lord Jesus to go with him, the Lord Jesus said, no, I want you to stay here. Go home to your own people. Tell them how much the Lord has done for you and how he has had mercy on you. So he got his own ministry. He went and tell people about God has done for him. And The Bible says, so the man went away and began to tell in the Decapolis how much Jesus had done for him, and all the people were amazed. So salvation reached there. Those demons went away because the Lord chased them away. The region was saved. So that's one of the examples about this story. Sometimes, you may be doing something. Maybe your presence to this certain region, people be able to know God through your testimony. So storms will come to stop you not to go there, because those demons, basically, the devil, fallen angels, they don't want you to go there because they know you're gonna kick them out. They've been controlling the entire region. People, they've been living, lifestyle, wicked lifestyle. So they need someone, who will come with Jesus and tell them about the Lord Jesus, and pray and casting out devils, and pray, for the heaven, the presence of God to come on that area to help people to live a godly lifestyle. So sometimes can be that. Something can be just God assignment. You have a God assignment, and because of what you're going to do there, it's gonna give God's glory. Storm may come to stop, to test the first of your faith, and basically to make you give up. Because when you doubt something, sometimes you can give up. Realize that this event was written in the book of Psalm, chapter 107, in verse 23 to 32, says, some went out on the sea in ships. There were nations on the mighty waters. They saw the works of the Lord, his wonderful deeds in the deep. For he spoke and stirred up a tempest that lifted high the waves. They were mounted up to the heavens and went down to the depths. In their period, their courage melted away. They reeled and struggled like drunkards. They were at their wits' end. Then they cried out to the Lord in their trouble, and he brought them out of their distress. He stilled the storm to a whisper. The waves of the sea were hushed. They were glad when it grew cold, and he guided them to their desired haven. Let them give thanks to the Lord for his unfailing love and his wonderful deeds for mankind. Let them exalt him in the assembly of the people, and let them exalt him in the assembly of the people, and praise him in the council of the elders. Hallelujah. So, it was written for the Lord Jesus even came to earth, that one day it's going to be this event, So, yeah. Another example is it's a story of the Lord Jesus walking on the water. It's in the book of Matthew chapter 14 and verse 22. We read up to verse 36. The title said, Jesus walks on the water. Immediately Jesus made the disciples get into the boat and go on ahead of him to the other side, while he dismissed the crowd. After he had dismissed them, he went up on the mountainside by himself to pray. Later that night, he was there alone, and the boat was already a considerable distance from land, buffeted by the waves because the wind was against it. Shortly after dawn, Jesus went out to them walking on the lake. When the disciples saw him walking on the lake, they were terrified. It's a ghost, they said, cried out in fear. But Jesus immediately said to them, take courage, it is I. Don't be afraid. Lord, if it's you, Peter replied, tell me to come to you on the water. Come, he said. Then Peter got down out of the boat, walked on the water, and came towards Jesus. But when he saw the wind, he was afraid and beginning to sink, cried out, Lord, save me. Immediately Jesus reached out his hand and caught him. You of little faith, he said, why did you doubt? And when they climbed into the boat, the wind died down. Then those who were in the boat worshipped him, saying, truly you are the Son of God. When they had crossed over, they landed at the Gennesaret, and when the men of that place recognized Jesus, they sent word to all the surrounding country. People brought all who were ill to him and begged him to let those who were ill just touch the edge of his cloak, and all who touched it were healed. So we see here an amazing story, So, I look at this story, Apostle Peter was about to get his shine. He was about to live. He was just starting living into his full potential. He was on the limelight. And then the storm came. He was walking on the water like the Lord Jesus. And then the storm came, to make him doubt. So when he doubted, he started sinking. And the Lord Jesus saved him. And the amazing thing, it says that, and when they climbed into the boat, the wind died down. When they went back to the boat, the wind died down. Why didn't the wind continue? After they went to the boat, because that wind or the storm, was there to stop them doing, to stop the shine, basically, to distract them. To distract them. Because now, remember now, Peter just got there, God answered his prayer. The Lord Jesus just answered his prayer. Come and walk on the water. He was about to live at his full potential. He's walking on the water. He's in the stage of walking in the water. He's gonna get, a miracle, a shining of his lifetime. And then, as he was doing that, the wind came, or the storm came, and he got afraid and cried, Lord, save me. He was walking with the Lord Jesus. So he was walking with the Lord, on the water. So let's imagine someone doing something big. It's already, God is on his, on his side. They are walking together. God told him to do this. They're doing this. He's doing this amazing thing, and God is on his side. And then something happened to stop him, to waver, his face to waver. Is this really God? Why all hell is breaking loose now? So this is basically, you can use an example of real life situation. This is what really happened, but imagine it in our days. So when he was afraid, the Lord saved him. But guess what? He went back to the boat again. Instead of continuing, to live to his full potential. I'm just using that as an example because the storm came to stop him. Many times storms come when God is about to elevate us, to promote us, when we're about to get, to fulfill God's assignment, when we're about to get God answers that we've been waiting, when we're about to get a breakthrough, storm will come. And it can come in a different way. It doesn't need to be, natural disasters. Like I said, storm can be, adversity can be a storm, depending on your assignment and what's ahead of what you are crossing over to. I know we're already going through this Bible passage, but in the book of Matthew, chapter 7, verse 24 up to 29, it says, the title is the wise and foolish builders. Therefore, everyone who hears these words of mine and puts them into practice is like a wise man who built his house on the rock. The rain came down, the streams rose, and the winds blew and beat against that house. Yet it did not fall, because it had its foundation on the rock. But everyone who hears these words of mine and does not put them into practice is like a foolish man who built his house on sand. The rain came down, the streams rose, and the winds blew and beat against that house, and it fell with great crash. So we see here even the Lord Jesus, out of his own mouth, says that we will go through these storms, we'll go through these storms. But those who, build their lives on his foundations, they are like wide builders, because they'll be building on the rock foundation. So when these storms, floods, when they come, they'll find out their lives They have been built on the foundation on the rock. Their foundation are on the rock, you know. So one example, for instance, of one of the, Bible good example is Apostle Paul. Apostle Paul shared about his sufferings and one of the things he went through. Let's read from the book of 1 Corinthians chapter 11, verse 16, and then up to verse 33, and then we'll read chapter 12, verse 1 up to verse 10. Paul boasts about his sufferings. I repeat, let no one take me for a fool, but if you do, then tolerate me just as you would a fool, so that I may do a little boasting. In this self-confident boasting, I'm not talking as the world would, but as a fool. Since many are boasting in the way the world does, I too will boast. You gladly put up with fools since you are so wise. In fact, you even put up with anyone who enslaves you, or exploits you, or takes advantage of you, or puts you on airs, or slaps you in the face. To my shame, I admit that we were too weak for that. Whatever anyone else dares to boast about, I am speaking as a fool. I also dare to boast about. Are they Hebrews? So am I. Are they Israelites? So am I. Are they Abraham's descendants? So am I. Are they servants of Christ? I am out of my mind to talk like this. I am more. I work much harder, being in prison more frequently, being flogged more severely, and being exposed to death again and again. 5 times I received from the Jews the 40 lashes minus 1. 3 times I was beaten with rods. Once I was pelted with stones. 3 times I was shipwrecked. I spent a night and a day in the open sea. I have been constantly on the move. I have been in danger from rivers, in danger from bandits, in danger from my fellow Jews, in danger from Gentiles, in danger in the city, in danger in the country, in danger at sea, and in danger from false believers. I have labored and toiled and have often gone without sleep. I have known hunger and thirst and have often gone without food. I've been cold and naked. Besides everything else, I face daily the pressure of my concern for all the churches. Who is weak, and I do not feel weak? Who is led into sin, and I do not even rebel? If I must boast, I will boast of the things that show my weakness. The God and Father of the Lord Jesus, who is to be praised forever, knows that I am not lying. In Damascus, the governor used King Arias had the seat of the Damascus guarded in order to arrest me. But I was lowered in a basket from the window in the wall and slipped through his hands. So he's continuing. But Paul's vision in his tone. I must go on and boasting, although there is nothing to be gained. I will go on to visions and revelation from the Lord. I know a man in Christ who 14 years ago was caught up to the third heaven. Whether it was in the body or out of the body, I do not know. God knows. And I know that this man, whether in the body or apart from the body, I do not know. But God knows. Was caught up to paradise and had inexpressible things that no one is permitted to tell. I will boast about a man like that, but I will not boast about myself, except about my weaknesses. Even if should I choose to boast, I will not be a fool, because I will not be speaking the truth. But I refrain so no one will think more of me than warranted by what I do or say, or because of this surpassing great revelation. Therefore, in order to keep me from becoming conceited, I was given a thorn in my flesh, a messenger of Satan, to torment me. 3 times I pleaded with the Lord to take it away from me, but he said to me, my grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness. Therefore, I will boast all the more gladly about my weaknesses, so that Christ's power may rest on me. That is why, for Christ's sake, I delight in weaknesses, in insults, in hardship, in persecution, in difficulties. For when I am weak, then I am strong. So we see here, Apostle Paul went all kinds of forms of storms, hardships, persecutions, difficulties, insults, oppressions, the thorn, So, you know, I was thinking, all of us that we are reading the Bible, this is the book of Bible, and you see how much God used Apostle Paul greatly, to write many books of the New Testament in the Bible. And some of us, we have no idea what he went through. Sometimes when I hear someone, in that level, that kind of level of high, high level, those kinds of level, I kind of, have respect for those kind of people because we have no idea what they went through. You have no idea. It's just sharing it. Only the people who have been through what he has been through, they have no idea, of what a person can go through. They will understand his pain, So life is like that. And sometimes, they go as the higher you go up, God is elevating you, in whatever area is called, the more, the storms you're gonna face. Yeah, I myself, I'm not in a level to compare, but I know, how it feels to go through, persecutions, attacks, hardship, oppression, for a really long time. And it's amazing, some people can just come into your life. They have no idea of what you went through. They have no idea. And I'm just saying, they have no idea. They really have no idea. So let's go to the book of First Corinthians. The book of First Corinthians, chapter 16. Let's read from verse 5 up to 13. In this passage, I just want to show you something about Apostle Paul. After I go through Macedonia, I will come to you. I will be going through Macedonia. Perhaps I'll stay with you for a while, or even spend the winter, so that you can help me on my journey wherever I go. For I do not want to see you now and make only a passing visit. I hope to spend some time with you, if the Lord permits. But I will stay on at Ephesus until Pentecost, because of a great door for effective work has opened to me, and there are many who oppose me. When Titus comes, see to it that he has nothing to fear while he is with you, for he is carrying on the work of the Lord just as I am. No one then should treat him with contempt. Send him on his way in peace so that he may return to me. I am expecting him along with the brothers. Now about our brother Apollos, I strongly urge him to go to you with the brothers. He was quiet and willing to go now, but he will go when he has the opportunity. Be on your guard, stand firm in the faith. Be courageous, be strong, do everything in love. So he's telling us that, because of the great door for effective work has opened to him, there are many who oppose him. If you have a great destiny, a great door for effective work that is open for you, you have to know that you're going to have opposers, and some of them are like storms. How it is decided. And it's up to you, to stand firm in faith, to be courageous and be strong, and do everything in love. Just put this on your focus, on your mindset. You have to cross to the other side. You have to cross to the other side. And if you need to cross to the other side, you have to know that you have to be firm in your faith, be courageous, be strong, and do everything in love. But you have to cross to the other side. How? Sometimes you may not see how, but God will make it. But keep it in mind that many times the storms come to stop us to go to the other side. Whatever it is God has in store for us on the other side. So we have to cross to the other side by His grace. Because sometimes, like Apostle Paul, the Lord did not take his throne. He told him His grace is sufficient for him, because when he is weak, the Lord is strong. His power is made perfect in weakness. So God will either lift the challenge immediately or provide you with the grace you need to contend with the situation when the storm comes, or in any kind of forms. If God doesn't take it away, then He will give you the grace to contend with that, to live with that. But the key is do not stop because, starting feeling pity or, I've done this for the Lord and done this, and at least we could have done this, help me with this one prayer. He said His grace is sufficient for us. So that's it, guys. Thank you so much. I hope you like this episode. Until next time, bye.